Welcome back. Going to the second half here of Court of Swords. Adam's back.
I'm back.
He's excited.
I like, when I was doing the scenes where my camera was off, I was gesturing meaninglessly, and I was like making faces at the camera.
I could hear the
like,
pauses, and I knew that you were making faces and gestures.
Yeah. No one can see me. You get very used to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's cut back to 10 Pillars of Gold. So we know what you do during like downtime, but is there anybody do you want to like talk to anybody or like have a conversation? And it can be with Berg or Ramus, right? It could happen before they go into the archives, right? We'll cut back to them in a kind of currently mode. But if you want to do something, what are you up to? Because you're, in the midst of your intelligence gathering, but you can also pursue specific stuff. So what do you want to do?
I want to, well, I already did the research, so I can't research like again, right? Like on something else. Okay.
Yeah.
I would love like, since it's a week, I would like to find time to have a conversation with Berg or Ramus, but mostly Berg.
Okay.
See if there's any time that we could do that.
Max, could you imagine a time where 10 Pillars of Gold would be able to talk to Berg alone over the course of like the next week while you're kind of prepping and doing this stuff while you're hanging out in the camp?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how it lines up. Are you asking me how it lines up?
It doesn't right now. It doesn't really matter. These are just vignettes, so they can kind of happen anytime. So what would you be doing if you were just like casually like keeping busy or something? What would that look like? Would you be like lifting weights? Are you like helping with work? What are you doing?
Probably, yeah. Like just at the end of exercising and going to go get food, like maybe heading to the cafeteria or something like that. You can catch them.
Okay. Do you follow a routine? Would you say?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
It might vary from day to day, but you can, if you're studying it over the course of like a week, whatever, you can kind of get my general day-to-day activities.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then I'll make it happen so that when you're done with your morning workout and you want to go get some food or whatever, I'll have something prepared the night before. And I don't know if this requires a roll or whatever, but like, well, research what orcs would consider like not maybe a delicacy. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but like something special that's not like, ceremonial or anything like that,
I brought you this delicious bowl of gah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. I'm not kidding. So you want exactly what I had in mind, Adam.
Yeah. So that's
it's
cool.
Wriggling,
so Berg,
it's alive.
what's like an orcish like a food? Let's think about. So we know that the orcs came from a similar, though maybe more. They live in like originally lived in like Badlands and mountain ranges. So probably meat would have been goat. Chances are because they're pretty hardy. You can have goats like hanging out with you in mountainous areas. Goats, like goat meat, and then probably like mountain like tubers, like that kind of thing. Yeah. What do you? Is there any like what's a dish that Berg like an orcish dish that you remember, like something that you like?
I would think probably like a very hearty kind of like stew that's really spicy. It's not like fancy by any means. It's literally just meat with whatever the hell you have as herbs and stuff like that, but then you spice the fuck out of it.
Yeah, cool. Okay. I love the idea
like
of 10 pillars.
There's no specific, like, it's not like just like a one dish. It's grown a name just because it's, people understand that's what you do. You get your meat, you get whatever fucking fixings you can, vegetable wise, and then you take the spices that you can, whatever is super spicy. Some people have them on them, specific ones, and you make it really fucking hot.
Now I'm imagining Doug's Noodles has like a heat chart, and on one end it's like human baby, and on the other end there's a picture of Berg, and he's like, "You want it orc spicy? I can make it orc spicy for you."
Yeah.
And then I imagine 10 Biller's just
gate.
like, yeah, 10 Biller's just trying to make this food and like testing it and just being like, "Ah, it's so hot." Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Oh, for sure.
So let's see. I think 10 Pillars, like you don't have the ingredients on you, but if you want to like go to the effort to like prepare it, you definitely could have. I think if you want to throw like 20 gold at it, you could bribe some people to give you stuff and you get scraped together. You have a couple of days.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I don't know. Do you want to roll to see if it's any good? Because it might be kind of fun if like you tried, but it doesn't turn out very good.
Sure.
Or you could ace it. And okay, so is cooking a skill in? There's no specific skill for it in D&D because the skill list is pared down. I think it might be a tool proficiency. Let me look.
I have herbalist tools.
I'll let you use that. Yeah, fuck it. Because this is mostly about the spice, right? The actual, because exactly how, that's funny, exactly how Max described it makes it, the only really important thing is the herbs. So it's just like, make fire, go to food. Like, cooking isn't survival, because survival is like staying alive. This is impressing someone with food. Definitely not survival.
What would you say would be the governing stat? Because it's not set.
Yeah, intelligence?
Thinking wisdom?
Dexterity. I mean, you're trying to like manipulate his emotions. So you're thinking about like, how would this food affect somebody emotionally? I don't think it's wisdom. I think it's intelligence or dexterity if it requires like careful, finite sprinkling.
Okay. All right. Are you giving me my choice? Because obviously I'm going to pick intelligence.
Yeah. You do it with your intelligence. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
Basically, we're just establishing how good it is. There's no DC.
Here we go. 20.
Woo! 20, not bad. Okay. Cool. So just to keep, let me just like lay this out because I know you're looking at your +9. You're like, I only rolled an 11. So the maximum that any like commoner, the best food a commoner could make, period. The best absolute dish, they tried as hard as they possibly could. That's the best they could do, right? Your medium effort is the best possible thing a normal human could accomplish because a 20 is like, you'd have to roll a 20 on that. So you're fine. This is going to be great. So how do you spring this friendship trap? Is it you invite Berg to come get you? You come and bring him some food? What do you do?
I catch Berg while he's heading in to go get his breakfast, and I follow him in there, and I wait for him to sit down with whatever he's gotten, and I bring my bowl over, and I sit down across from him. I put the bowl, and I look directly at him, and I say, Berg, I asked for something spicy from the attendant, and they way overdid it for my taste. Would you be willing to negotiate a trade? You can taste it first, of course.
Hi, my name's 10 Pillars of Gold. I host a show called Hot Ones, a show with hot questions and.
So, Berg, when you were killing your second god, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, he like looks at you, kind of startled, and like,
What now? What is this?
Try it. Do you like spicy food?
Berg like reaches out and grabs it. He's like,
your sinuses and your eyeballs immediately are like, whoa, and like start watering, and like you can feel your nose start to drip a little.
Berg is like a,
Where did you get this?
And then I give like I kind of give away the game. I give you a knowing smile. Like I have my sources. Go ahead. I bet you like it.
Like he cocks an eyebrow.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. I've had better, but not bad. You made this. Hmm?
No. I had it made.
Is this a lying? Are you?
No. I had it made.
Oh, you had it made.
Yeah, I had to procure all of the stuff and like get the. But I'm no.
Well, and this is-
well, actually, you know what?
Yeah.
I got all the stuff, all the ingredients, and I guess I rolled herbalism. So yeah, I guess I did make it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You
you
may not have cooked may
yeah.
not have cooked the meat, you may not have like chopped the vegetables, but you were the one deciding how much of each spice to put in and
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I did. Is it palatable? I tasted it as I went, as long as I could stand it, but after a while, I could
I
stand
imagine-
it no longer.
I would say, imagine in the testing, it wasn't for 10 pillars. It wasn't so much the going in that was so bad, but like you've had some
Yeah.
sleepless nights as a result
Yeah.
of testing out this orc food.
Yeah.
Maybe at that point, like when
Ew.
you're like, yeah, I tested it myself. There's like a low, like from your stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, Berg like cracks
must-
a smile at that.
Must have bowels of iron, my friend.
You ate this, huh?
Like looks at you like,
Not
I wouldn't
smart.
so much say ate as lived through.
Not for everyone.
as you say that, he just takes like he's at this point while he's eaten most of like the meat and everything in there, and he's just going like this.
Mhm.
The water bottle's the bowl. I don't have a bowl.
Yeah, just
He like slams it down like.
Well, it's better than when they serve you. Thank you. Now, what do you want?
I want nothing more than, well, your story. I want to know about you, about Berg. You're quite an interesting character. Never met anyone anywhere near close to you. Do you mind if I smoke?
Please,
You can have some if you'd like.
no. I'm okay. You want to know about me? That may take some time. And why?
You probably get this quite a lot, being who you are, but there's just something about you, Berg. Something that screams destiny. You have a big part to play in how things shake out, I'm imagining. Well, for instance, where'd you get that head smasher you carry there?
I thought you might ask about it. It, been with me for a long time. Didn't always look like this. Different.
I'm even having trouble remembering how the fuck I even came across this.
Oh, this old thing. Don't worry about that.
When did we first get the apology of Emperor Faye?
Okay, you had it before I came into the group.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Like,
got
is
it.
he-
There've been 3 forms. I think you looted it from the lair of the Rock Gnome King. I think that's where you got it
Yeah, I think you're
originally.
right.
I think it was a piece
Yeah,
of loot
yeah.
from
That's
him.
what I was going to say, but I
It's
wasn't
from his
sure.
horde. Yep. And
Right.
then it changed form and became, what was it called when it had the little floaty bits and it was like the Farang hammer? It was like
Oh, was that when it healed me?
Tulpa's something or other.
Yeah. Tulpa's Conduit.
Tulpa's Conduit, yeah. And then it became the Hammer of Heaven when it was purified after you died and whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
It, long time ago. Do you know or heard of the Rock Gnome King?
How well versed am I in that? I'm sure I would have heard of it.
Yeah.
Or not?
Actually, it happened on your borders for sure. Make a history roll.
Yeah, because I feel like it's significant enough if you're anywhere near that area.
Yeah, I
you
mean the
probably
rock
know.
gnomes. The gnomes are like a lost species, but you're massively good at history. You got 29. So okay, you know about the Shulin Valley. You know that the Shulin Valley is or was a contested area between the Court of Coins and the Court of Swords. The Court of Swords had to go and pay all this attention to this war they're fighting. So the Shulin Valley belongs to the Court of Coins now. There's no one around to say. There were supposedly an indigenous species of intelligent people that live there, but no one really has ever seen any. And there was some rumor that they got into some kind of civil war. And then there was a terrible fire in the valley. And that's kind of the last anyone remembers of that. Nobody really knows what a gnome is. Gnomes are kind of like an urban legend, but you do remember kind of like the pieces fall into place for you. You remember that.
I'm aware. I've heard. Well, the gnomes are a mysterious species in and of themselves. You say you went there? You were in that place at that time?
Yes. Killed their king. He went back. Had to die. In his area there, I found that. And when I
To the
grabbed
victor.
Mm-hmm.
it, something
What do you
about
call it?
Mm,
Berg like thinks for a moment of whether or not to tell him.
Yeah, because the hammer's name is your secret title as well.
Well, as you're saying, like we established earlier that I knew it looked like what it looked like.
You knew it looked like the apology of Emperor Faye, but you asked what it's called. So yeah, I guess he'll give you that much since you mentioned on it. He thought of telling you like what it actually is all about, and then so you see him think for a second, and then
well, you were right when you looked at it before, but not a copy.
he,
And you
nods,
see like the pipe kind of like falter just for a split second, just like. Are you saying
Yes.
that
Different in the way it looks, but
he like grabs the hammer and like kind of like you're like
it is that.
so? I'm assuming then, if what you say is true, then that the thing that holds your pants up, also the real deal.
No, that I made.
Yeah. Oh, this? No, I bought this out of the back of some guy's truck. It's not. It's just a replica. It's only a model.
It's only a model. Oh,
He gives it a look and then like looks at you and like,
What do you think?
like I said, there's more to you than meets the eye.
Can you, 10 Pillars, can you make one more history check real quick?
You bet.
Yeah, make another history check real quickly for me.
28.
Okay. 28. It's great. So Emperor Fei, now if we remember briefly, Emperor Fei ruled prior to the court model, right? He ruled a massive swath of land that was most of the Court of Coins, some of the Court of Cups, the northern part of the Court of Swords, the eastern part of the Court of, like, he had a big empire. And Emperor Fei is best known for a few of his heroic acts. He's kind of like a Hercules, right? So we know of him through, he's thousands of years old, and we know of him through his tales of Emperor Fei, and they're collected. Like there are school children in the Court of Coins that know some of the stories, right? He's kind of like not an urban legend, but like a tall tale, right?
Yeah.
And we know, that Emperor Fei always wore, he had his great wide belt and his big heavy hammer, and he was never seen without his crown atop his head. And so if these things are real, if these are true artifacts of Emperor Fei, Berg is missing one.
Mm-hmm. So, my good friend, you have 2 of 3. Are you trying to find the third piece? Is that your ultimate quest?
Maybe not ultimate quest. Kind of just found these. Maybe, as you say, something about destiny. Who knows? They helped me fight. They helped me be strong. So I use them.
I have a very big question for you, Berg. Might take a while to answer, but if you had some, let's call it a wish for your life, what would you want out of your life? If you had a wish, say, I wish that this would happen, or anything you could think of. What would that wish be?
I wish to be turned into a dragon.
I want to be big.
Well, for one, it would be nice if people like me were people.
he looks very pointedly at you as to say, like, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
But unlikely that will happen. For me, I don't know.
Now, 10 Pillars of Gold, you are too smart to say this out loud. I don't know whether you believe it or not. But when someone in the Court of Coins says, if Berg were to say that in the Court of Coins, anybody listening to him would be like, but Berg, slavery is illegal in the Court of Coins. Your people are free. What's the problem?
Right. So you ended with for yourself, you don't know. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So you had one wish. You would make sure that all of your people were never subjugated again, enslaved by anyone. Do I have the right?
That would be a want, yes. Not a wish. Really. Wish is bigger. Won't happen. Foolish. Younger Berg wished. He paid.
Never be afraid to wish big, my friend. It's the little steps along the way. Meeting me was a good step. I have power and I have sway. But the gears of the kingdom move slowly, you know this. If at all. But
Power.
I have a little bit of grease.
Sway. Mm.
What about
That's
you,
something.
Berg?
I was just gonna say, Berg, before we continue, that's something that I mean, you've had a lot of friends in these many years. You've been like, as you've escaped from Kukrit, right? You've known lots of people with lots of different abilities. You've known some who are good at staying hidden in the shadows, others who are good at music or magic, right? Telling of tales or conjuring of spells. But I don't think you've ever had a friend who is socially connected before, right? Kukrit is the closest you've ever come, right? This like prison warden, he had connections and he used them to good effect against you, right? He was the kind of guy who could throw money and time and social influence at a problem. I don't think you've ever known anybody that was like on your side that had clout before.
Yeah. In Berg's mind, he's just thinking, he doesn't know quite what to make of 10 Pillars of Gold. If he's like
Yeah.
full of shit or what.
You could roll
That's kind
insight.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. If you're thinking about, yeah, great point, Zeke. Like,
Yeah,
if
it's
Berg would
it's
take a
good point
minute
to do that,
and
yeah.
like look at him and be like, what is your fucking deal?
Yeah. So inside.
Okay. You got an 8, which it's not great. That's an average roll for you. Yeah.
If I'm the one who decides like how much you get out of a roll of 8, I would say that you don't feel any dishonesty or any disingenuousness. Disingenuousness.
Mhm.
But you definitely get like the feeling that there's something you can't put a beat on that 10 Pillars wants.
Yeah.
You. Interesting.
What
Don't
about
know
you?
if I like you yet, but I don't hate you.
I'll take it. Well, you've said what you want for your kind. What does Berg want? Or is that a question you haven't thought about?
Hmm.
There's like a long silence. Then you see him like really thinking hard, just looking.
I don't know if I can have anything more. than what I have. It may not be in the cards, as they say.
They do say that.
I'm here to tell you that you can,
Oh,
and you should. What if I were to tell you? What if I were to say that I come up to you tomorrow and I tell you that not only has slavery, well, it's been outlawed, but we all know how it works. If I were to tell you that all of your people are free in all of our lands that we hold purview, would you lead them?
I don't know about lead.
Would
But
you
I
be
would
a
protect
champion
them.
of your people?
So Berg, while you're thinking about this would be the part where you get like auditory like flashbacks to every time anyone was like, you can do it, Berg, save us, right? Like there's the ghost
I know.
orc kid and like all the other
Yeah.
times people have expected you to like be their hero and save them from something bad, right?
Yeah. That's all
How,
that's, I was
how
going to say.
varyingly that's gone.
100% running through his head. It's super fresh too, because he just had, like saw that
Yep.
like ghoul little kid that was left from his
Mm.
existence.
And I see you thinking, and I'll speak while you're thinking of that. Picture this. Berg, once a slave, now free. His people looking for a champion, someone to lead their way. But he also has the backing, the organization of the Court of Coins behind him. He would not lead alone. He would lead in conjunction. It is a minor yoke, but it is a yoke.
Mm. But yoke will break eventually. You will die. No one comes. No one disagree. Fighting again. Slavery again. The wheel turns. People suffer. That is the way.
Yes. But the wheel turns. Will you be a part of this time of its revolution, where the wheel puts your people and you in the sunshine for however long it lasts? Is it not worth it?
You see Berg like really intensely thinking and like looking.
Mhm.
And then he like looks at his hammer for a second.
I would rather break the wheel.
But wouldn't a wheel as big as the one you're speaking, wouldn't it be easier to break that wheel with an army rather than just you? And Ramus, of course, and whomever else. The giant fellow that's in your party. You three are formidable. You're not an army.
No. But we've been through a lot.
And that's
And when
why
I say that, I don't mean regular fights. Regular foes. Regular army cannot fight what is coming. We'll see about you. Are you up for it? Because it will get bad. And I mean bad.
He strokes his very well manicured and pointed goatee.
Mm-hmm.
And looks at Berg. Well, we may have not been through the same trials. I guarantee you I've earned every gray hair in this beard.
I believe
Every one a memory of something difficult, some hard choices, people who live, people who die. I just wanted to see that if the time came and your people looked to someone to lead them, if you would do it or not, or you would resign yourself to the fact that everything falls apart eventually. I think you take the lesson of the tower too much to heart, my friend.
lead. No. Protect and fight for. Yes. I am the leader. It does not end well when I try.
Leaders come in many forms. Maybe you are not good at giving orders or coming up with tactics, but someone who leads by their own example can be much more powerful than those who are appointed. Thank you for talking to me, Berg. I hope in the days to come that you will see I'm a man of my word. Did you like the soup?
You. Thank you for the soup. It was nice to taste. Flavor.
So when you look over to like look at it, because you're talking about the stew, right? You look over, the bowl is missing, and you turn and you look, and lying on the floor next to the table, like just bright red, gasping for breath, like tears streaming out of their eyes, is that same little dude who tried to like snag the cot in the last episode, and the bowl is lying next to him. And he's just like. And like just lying on the floor dying, and you just look over and he just looks up like, water, please.
Bird looks at him.
Was that good?
And he nods and he's like, tell children I love them. He's just like squirming around on the floor sweatily.
Bird looks back
now,
at you. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. Just as you know, you're wrapping up the conversation. He just looks at you again and he says, squints at you for a little bit.
I still don't know what to make of you. But as I said, I don't hate you. Which is better than most.
Gives you a brief nod. And then he gets up and goes about his day. But before I do that, Adam,
Okay.
I want to
Yes.
know, is there a way I could like roll to gauge how that went according to Berg, like insight wise? Would that be?
Yeah, that's an
fair?
insight check. Yeah, that's.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty common insight check. That like, how did that conversation go?
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
Yeah.
How was I? Was that good? How did I do in that interview? Yes, yeah. Make an insight check, and then just like
Okay.
we did before, I'll let Max decide. Holy Jesus. Okay, 31.
Not good at a lot of
So at
things,
this
but
point-
checks should be good.
Yeah, you are the most skilled character. So with a 31, that is a superhuman insight check. To this point where like 10 Pillars is probably figuring shit out from this conversation about Berg that Berg himself doesn't realize about. Like doing an insight check on yourself is a very difficult thing to do. So Max, I guess the two of you, like, just Zeke, what do you want to know about Berg's emotional state from that conversation? And
I'm
then
an open
Max,
book. I'm not that
yeah, right.
smart,
Max,
and my
expound on
walls are
that a
down.
little bit.
Okay. Is Berg hopeful for the future?
Yes and no. There is a side of Berg that wants to fight super hard for the possibility of change and things becoming better overall. But
Okay.
there's the other logical side of his brain that knows that it very well likely will not go well and he will die and nothing will matter.
Does he lean more one way or the other? That shit will go wrong, or that there's a chance that it'll go right?
He leans more towards things will go wrong.
Okay.
Everybody in chat who is Berg right now, just raise your hand. Could we just, because holy, big mood, Berg, big mood.
Big
I really
mood.
want to fight. I really want to fight for change, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And ultimately, everything is meaningless. Yep.
Second question is, I know what Berg said about leading and stuff, but would I get the sense that if it all came down to it and the orc people had no leader at all, or someone to spearhead their just their group, like if the chips were down, would Berg step up?
Yeah. If no one was there at all, but less in a leading fashion, more as a warrior of them to protect them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like chime in when needed, but not actively sitting on a throne.
Right, like take the lead to free them from their troubles and fight their enemies, but not afterwards, like building policy and stuff.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Instead of like building policy and like, ooh, we have a king and a queen and a whatever, a whole court of orcs. It's more just like, no, we're just living our life, and if anyone fucks with us, we're gonna kill them.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So like a defender of your people rather than a leader. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
What's his favorite color? No.
The last question. The last question I have is there something that Berg really wants for himself? Was he just not saying it, or does he just not care about himself?
You sense that he used to want something before, but now thinks it's foolish to want that. Rather just live in the moment and press forward and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Well, and if you don't ever want anything, then you never risk not getting it, right?
Exactly.
So it's easier
100%.
just to like
You get the sense
deal
that
with the
like,
problems.
holy shit, there's been a lot of shit that he's lost. And so there is now just a one-track mind of like, let's just move forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'm good then.
All right. Excellent. Okay. So
that was fun, man.
Well, yeah, that was a great scene. Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
While all that's going on, Ramus, I know that you and Berg have some stuff to roll once you get access to the library, but during the time, in the same way that 10 Pillars had an interaction with Berg, during that, is there anybody that, Ramus, you want to talk to, or anything that you want to be doing that isn't like long-term? Like, do you have a scene that you want to do, like those guys? It's cool if you don't. I just wanted to check and make sure you had the opportunity.
Yeah, I think I would be talking to like a slightly larger group of peasants this time about harmony and my philosophies in the room. Like it's a slightly bigger crowd this time because she's brought more people with her.
All right. So you've basically instructed like to Somchai, be like, go get some friends. We're gonna have a little talk.
Yeah, it's just like in the dormitories next to the fire, just like we're talking, and I'm just explaining to them like my philosophies of heaven, and I'm just like, and you see this wooden man? If I hold it up to the fire that is the fountain, look at the wall. What do you see? A dark shadow.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and so they're nodding and they're like, yes, I see the shadow. And they're like, nudges, look, it's a shadow. And they're like, yeah, jackass, I see it too. Everybody sees it.
Don't you see? Having heaven so close to the fountain, they create dark shadows in the world. These are the Mara.
And they all kind of nod like, okay, I understand that. That makes sense. Yep.
Heaven is the cause of the Mara.
And at that, because that's like some pretty fundamental blasphemy, and they kind of look at each other like, oh, that's, and one of them puts his hand up. He's like, Master Krill, that's not right. The Mara, they're bad guys. They're not. I mean, well, the re-education camp said that the Mara aren't the bad guys, but my Mima said the Mara are the bad guys, and they would come and take your soul away. But then the camp, they said that the heaven was the bad guys, and that the Mara were gonna free us. But now you say that they're the same. I don't understand, Master Krill. Can you explain it again?
If you open your mouth one more time, I will have you executed. Sit down and listen for once in your pathetic life.
I'm sorry, Master Krill.
They have been doing nothing but lying to you. Don't you understand? I know you're simple. You don't get it. All you know is what they've given to you. Think about the lessons of heaven. The Court of Swords has been the closest to heaven you've gotten. And how do they treat you? Do they educate you? Do they feed you? Or do they sit you in a field and make you work and survive on your own?
Somebody in the back of the room says, a magistrate pushed my uncle in the river. And another one is like, yeah, the imperial tax collector said that I had to pay him twice this year. Then he got killed. That was funny.
Are these the lessons of heaven? That you are to be abused and used your entire life so you may have a better life next time? I say no. Our lives are more than that. We are in charge of our destiny. We need to take it back from them.
The guy that you berated earlier has slowly raised his hand, is looking at you.
This better be good.
Well, I had a question about destiny, because when we're born, the sign that we're born under indicates to us the path that heaven wishes for us to tread. But if you say it's all a con job, then how do we know what our destiny is?
You don't have one. It's a lie given to you by heaven to control you, to make you do what they want you to do. If you could choose right now what you wanted to do, what would it be?
And he kind of like looks around like, are you talking metaphorically or like me specifically?
If you were in charge of your fate, your destiny, where would you like to be in 10 years?
Okay, I want 6 wives, and hot ones too. All of them. And a husband. Maybe 2 husbands. A handsome one and a strong one.
See?
And 40 kids. And a big farm. And fields that grow golden rice. And I want to be 2 feet taller than I am. And he's just like, he gets up and starts like basically making demands of the room or heaven, where he's just like, and I want to live in a palace. I want my palace to have palaces. She just punches him in the mouth. She's just like, shut up, and hits him, and he grabs his face and like tumbles over backwards, like holding his face, and like, ow, it hurts, my destiny. And Samchai looks at him and just scowls like, shh, don't interrupt, and turns back to you like, please, Master Krill.
We have been taken advantage of for too long. The Mara are right about one thing. Heaven is not our savior, no matter what they tell you. They are your masters, your rulers. They have their foot on your neck. We must stand against them and rise together, because without If we push back against heaven, we take back the power they stole from us. I need you to talk quietly to your friends, your family. Tell them the truth you've learned here and reflect on what I've said. We'll meet again and again in secret. We'll spread our message and spread truth and regain our power for the sake of harmony.
So I'm gonna get you to make a roll, and I need you to do one of two things. I'm gonna give you a choice. So you can make it's gonna be a religion roll, but you're not gonna use your wisdom bonus. You're gonna use your charisma bonus instead. Or I guess you could make a performance roll, but I think religion is the better choice maybe for you. Because you definitely have that trained. But so it's a charisma roll with whatever your normal bonus to like your proficiency bonus and stuff to religion if you have it. But you can do it either with disadvantage, and if you do, that means that you manage to keep things secret, right? You keep it on the DL, nobody finds out. If you don't care about that, you can make the roll normally, but word will get back to Gravedirt of what you're doing.
So it's religion check with charisma bonus.
Yeah.
At disadvantage.
It would be at disadvantage if you want to keep it on the DL. But if you're just like, let freedom sing, then go ahead and make it like a normal check.
And what would be the DC I'm trying to hit?
You're not trying to hit a DC. It's just the higher the number, the more effective your proselytizing is.
Okay. So
yeah, and you do have lucky too. So if you blow it, you can.
Yeah. So religion is intellect based. So would I change that to? My intellect is +1. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me look at your character sheet. So your intelligence gives you a +1 normally. So it would become a -1. So, but you're trained. So you'd be rolling a D20 and adding 4.
Okay.
Yeah. D20 +4.
All right. I will do it at disadvantage. And can I use guidance? On the roll?
Totally. Yeah. It's guidance is like like the spell and the sermon are the same. Like it's part of the thing. You can absolutely guidance yourself. Totally.
Okay. So I will do it at +4. Do it at disadvantage with guidance. First one's 11. Second one's 12. So 11.
So first one's 11. Yeah. Do you want to try? You want to use lucky to reroll?
Yeah, I'll do lucky as well. Actually, no, it's going to be disadvantage, so it won't even matter. It'll always be the lowest. So
do you reroll an individual? Oh yeah, you'd have to use lucky twice to reroll both dice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So 14 would be what I rolled. Lowest +3.
Cool. I'm seeing chat say lucky lets you pick any of the dice. We should check, because if that is the case, then it would probably be helpful. Yeah, strange interactions with guidance.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah. Because read lucky for me. I just want to hear what the description of the ability is, or you can post it in chat too if it's on your sheet.
Okay. You may spend 1 luck point to roll an additional d20. You can use this ability after the original roll, but before the outcome is revealed, you choose which of the d20s to be used.
So if you do re-roll it, then it's still like if let's say you re-roll the 7, you're limited by the 12, right? Like because you're limited by that 8 you rolled because it's still the lower of those two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so to be
I think you're right.
The max would be 12. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what did you get for your sneaky religion check? It was a 14 total.
11 + 3, so 14.
Yeah, 14. Okay, great. That's not bad. Okay. So maybe it occurs to you also that like this is something that's like working. It's working now, right? Like in this small scale, and you're having to keep it secret because you know if Gravedirt finds out, she's going to be pissed and she's going to confront you about it. but if you had somebody, like, you've got people to protect you and you got people to do your bidding, right? You got Berg, you got Maharib, but it occurs to you that it might be helpful to have like a mouthpiece. It might be helpful to have somebody who's like naturally very charismatic who can like deliver your sermons, because you get frustrated with people easily and you're very good at like telling them to shut the fuck up, but you get the like recurring this feeling of like you're not necessarily like good at giving these speeches, not as much as the priests you've seen around. So something to keep in mind, that having somebody to like deliver these kinds of fervent speeches for you would be useful. But for now, word spreads that that somebody in the camp is it's like they're having like secret meetings, and it doesn't get back to Gravedirt yet. If you continue to push, eventually it will. But in secret, you are doing okay. And I'm actually I'll start a clock, and we'll give you I'll fill in a slice of it right now, and we'll call it the spread of harmony at the camp. And once the clock is completely filled in, you will be like undermining the Mara philosophy enough that it'll be undeniable. It'll be like a majority of the people in camp are more into your ideas than they are the Gravedirt's plans, and then she'll have to confront you basically. But by then you'll have everybody on your side. Okay. All right. So this is spread of harmony. I've got that on my notes, and then I'll make another clock for her to notice you that you're doing this. And right now she has no ticks, no slices on it. So you're operating in secret. Okay, cool. So you do that, Ramus, you and Somchai. So while all that's going on, Maharib, let's check back in with you. So you and let me get a name for this Genasi, because she needs one.
Let's go with Bilbo.
That's weird. It's in this world, Bilbo is actually the name that you would traditionally give like a real sexy lady.
Yeah,
it's a hot name, like Jessica.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's call her. I'm just gonna look at. She's in the Court of Swords, so she'd probably have a Court of Swords name.
Let's steal from chat. Cinderella. Let's go with that.
Cinderella. Yep, it's perfect. It's actually
it's a fire name. Great. You know, Cinder with just Ella. Mm-hmm. It's not. We're not talking about anything else.
Yep.
Oh, it's because she's also made of flame. Oh, right.
Oh, God. That fucking weird German fan is back again somehow.
No!
He's still here.
Okay. Her name is Vani. V-A-N-I. Vani.
V-A-N-I.
Okay. V-A-N-I, yeah, Vani. So you, Vani, and Awut go to one of the rooms. They've taken you through. We don't watch you do this, but they've taken you through the catacombs of the cave. It's a natural cave structure, and you go deeper and farther down than you have before. Everything around here is lit by fire, and as you get closer to wherever you're going, I think Awut warns you. I'm sorry, friend. From here on, it's going to be a little warm. And as you continue to the hallway, you notice it right away. Right, you start to sweat. The air is hot, and you're in this enclosed like black stone, and you're not in a hallway anymore. Right, this part you've led down into. Eventually, you get into a cavern. You come out into this cavern, and the cavern has there's a vent cut into the ceiling, right, a crack in the ceiling, and all of the smoke rising from the floor disappears into that crevasse, and down on the floor there is it's black stone, but running like a river through the room, coming from one side of the room to the other, is maybe like a 3 foot wide, like a flow of lava, essentially, or magma. I can never remember which, but you can see it. It's glowing. It's hot, and down in front of it there is a platform kind of stone with mythical kind of sigils carved into it. And you can see there's some half melted candles and maybe some other like alchemical looking stuff laying around. And Awut turns to you and says, Vani comes down here to get visions from Imix. The air carries something that puts the shamans into a trance state. And in there, they see the will of the flame. Sometimes. And he looks over at Vani, and Vani smiles. She says, "No, brother, all the time. It just doesn't always make sense. That's all." And she turns to you, and she says, "Come down to the river with me. Out, you stay here. Watch the door." And Out kind of pouts a little like, "Oh, I wanted to be there for the vision." And Vani walks down to the edge. Neither of them seem bothered by it, but the heat is like bad. It's sweltering. You can feel sweat like pouring down your back.
Okay. I think as I'm walking down, I'm like wiping my brow because I'm sure sweat beads are starting to form, if not become an issue. And in stride, I ask her, "What is it that you're looking to find?"
I'm going to ask Imix about you. Easier because you're here. It's not going to be a comfortable process, but you look like the kind of man who's comfortable with discomfort.
Is there a way that this can go poorly?
You play with fire. Sometimes you get burned.
Do you burn easily?
Wouldn't you like to know?
For your own safety, this is not a joking matter to me. I want you to be aware of that.
So she walks barefoot ahead of you, and to prove a point, as you reach the
Just walks over
as
it.
you reach the edge of the thing, she just walks into the lava. She like takes a couple of steps into it, sinks down to her calves, and it just flows around her legs as if it were water. And she looks up at you, and she smiles, and she looks down, and she says, "I'm fine. You don't have to worry about me."
Neat trick.
She walks back out. Not a trick, a blessing from Imix. She looks up at Awut and she says, "I hope that if I serve him well, I can be reborn closer, like my brother. But for now," she gestures, "now I listen to the flame, stare into the fire, ask questions for the clan. You look like you have questions." And she quiets, so just like, not even, because like there's no way Elwood could hear you at conversation because the crackling and the like noise of the lava. She looks closely at you and speaks quietly, like to show intimacy, right? That this is like just for the two of you. And she says, "What is it that weighs on your heart, Maharib? If you tell me, unburden yourself. I can have your troubles in mind when I go to Imix. Ask him for you."
I need to know if I'm of this world anymore.
Do you feel like you're not?
Feelings tend not to matter anymore.
Feelings always matter, even if you can't feel them as strongly as you used to be able to. Always. This is a gift that the primordials gave us when we were made. In the chaos of the universe, our feelings, and she like taps you in the chest, our feelings are what connect us to the world around us. When you feel fear, it's your body responding to the world. When you feel joy or sadness, don't toss feeling aside. Not so easily.
What happens if I lose consciousness or pass out?
Oh, you have nothing to worry about. It's completely normal to lose consciousness. I do it every day. You'll be okay. Trust me. And she takes your hand, and she has like pretty little hands. She's a human. She takes your hand in both her hands, and she can't cover your hand with both of hers, but she puts her warm, soft little hands on yours, and she looks at you and she says, "I will take care of you. I know that you are used to being the one that has to take care of everything and everyone, but not here. Not now. Here, I am in charge, and you have nothing to worry about. You understand me?"
I nod and I look over my shoulder. Is her brother just like watching? Or is he
Well,
left?
they can't be brother and sister because they're different species. So that's the first thing.
Well,
Like she
okay.
calls him brother, but yeah.
Then maybe I look back
no.
thinking like brother and then make
Yeah.
the connection. Yeah.
Right, and then you understand the connection.
Yeah.
No, he is pointedly like he has his back to you, and he's just watching to make sure nobody comes in and interrupts. But you're like a 20-minute walk down a bunch of tunnels, and like nobody's gonna casually wander into this room.
Okay. I look back and start wherever she's guiding me to or whatever. I let her guide me, but
Yeah.
in stride it. Please do not interact with this axe. Leave it alone. Do not bring it up with Imix, if need be. It does not concern you or this world.
That weapon, you brought it here. You carry it. It is a part of you, just like the sword. Imix, he doesn't care about your allegiances or this is the thing that people don't understand about the primordials. They just don't care about us or our feelings or what we want or what we need. Our job is just to listen to them, to open our hearts to the world around us and hear the flame, feel the smoke. You understand? You have nothing to hide from Imix because Imix doesn't care if you're carrying around a frankly frightening looking axe that makes you look a bit like a homicidal maniac. Obviously, I'm a bit more judgmental than Imix is, but you can't hurt me in here.
Finally ask if Imix has a soul he's willing to part with. I know that's a big ask. I do not expect a positive
She
one.
kind of just like cocks her head and looks at you and she says, what do you know about souls, Maharib of the Goliath?
I know that they're important to bodies here. I've journeyed with people without them. I've seen what that looks like.
I'm sure that the elders of your people told you stories about souls. Maybe you had a shaman who would carry these stories from generation to generation. Everyone has them. Every people, every religion have ways of seeing the world. Can I tell you what I know about souls?
I'm not going to stop you.
She looks hurt. She's like, well, if I'm going to bore you, if you're in a big hurry, we can just get to the part with the inhaling the sacred smoke and the trance and what have you.
By all means, please continue.
She laughs. She's like, I was going to anyway. The way we tell it, how my mother told me and how her mother told her and so forth and so on. The way we tell it is back in the before there was heaven, before there was Mara, everything was as the gods are. Both things at once. There was no flesh and spirit. There was no Hun and Po, no soul and body. Everything was as one. So what you think of as your soul, and she reaches out and pinches your arm, it's that. Or it was. And then some of the primordials betrayed the others for the sake of power, or who knows why the gods do what they do. And they made heaven. But part of this bad deal for us was a separation between this, and she like pinches you again, and this, and gestures around you. Like, whatever you think of as your soul. We got broken when heaven was made. And now this is why it is so miserable to be a person. Why suffering exists, because we've been made to carry these bodies around, dying slowly. So you can see why things are bad now, and why maybe it's a mistake to think that the soul and the body are so different. The gods are able to be one and both at the same. Why can't we do these things? Why do we have to carry around our corpses with us? Think on that during the ritual. Ponder what that might mean for whoever it is you think you need a soul for. You're going to want to take these off. And she like kind of tugs at your armor. It's going to get hotter before we're done.
Very well. I start taking my armor off piece by piece. It's going to take a decent amount of time. It's plate armor. So.
Yep. She just watches. She just stands there and watches, and maybe occasionally makes like a comment. But once you're done, you're basically stripped down to your skivvies. And while you're doing that, she has been whistling to herself and like mixing like paint or some kind of like. She's got mortars and pestles and like witchy stuff all around, and she gestures to this magic circle that she's made, and she says, "All right." Kneel down here. And do you have anything, an object that is important to you? We could use the axe, or Ahwoot kept looking at that sword. Maybe that's an anchor. It will matter. Whatever you use will help guide my energy.
I walk over towards where the axe is.
Yeah.
And reach down for it, and then take the blade and slam it into the ground as hard as I can, hoping that whoever tries to come and pick it up is going to take a struggle in doing so.
You're right. You hit it hard enough that it's harder to pull out. Okay.
Yeah. And then kind of awkwardly pick up Bahath. I'm not sure how to handle it. The sword is also talking to me 2 days or 3 days prior.
Yeah. She notices your discomfort, and she says, you hold that sword like a bachelor holds a baby. Does it make you so uncomfortable? Ooh, is it cursed? Is it a cursed sword? I've never seen a cursed sword before.
I don't know what it is. It apparently belonged to me, but then it didn't. And now I'm not sure what it is.
All right. Let me see it.
I look at her and like cock an eyebrow and say, "Are you sure?"
She shrugs. It's just a sword. Their hands out.
Well, I guess warning does no good here. And I start to like take the wrappings off of it, and instead of touching it, I like let it drop at her feet.
Yeah, clang, clang lands on the floor, and she kind of looks at you like, it's weird that you're so scared of touching this thing. But she's not judgmental. She's just trying to get an idea of like what your deal is. And so she kneels down and she takes a look at the sword. You can see her face reflected in the blade, and she like nods as if she's examining it. And she says, right. Okay. And over the course of the next few minutes, she anoints you with sacred sigils, right? She draws like flame patterns on your skin with a paintbrush and some kind of like ochre paint. And she waves some smoke around. She lights some candles. She basically does a bunch of like small ritual things that maybe seem like vaguely familiar to you. Make a religion check while you watch her do this.
Okay. 17, not bad.
Wow, 17. Yeah, so you can I think that Goliath religion isn't so specifically primordial focused, right? Like she is a fire priestess. Your people have a more broader animistic religion, but there are elements of this ritual that weirdly seem familiar to you. There are bits and pieces where you're like, oh, like I've heard this phrase before, even if I don't understand the words. So bits and pieces of this feel familiar, old,
Sure.
like atavistic almost. And when she finishes, she's like walked around a couple of times waving this like smoking, this like burning branch. She comes back around you and she's holding in her hand, she's holding her hands closed like this. And she says, okay, we're ready, but I need you to make sure that this is what you want to do. Sometimes people see things they didn't anticipate seeing. It can be very traumatizing. Are you ready?
I saw everyone dead the second I walked into this place. I'm ready for whatever.
She nods. Good. Good. Homicidal delusions. Great. Here. And she opens her hands, and there are two. I guess she opens her hands and holds one out to you. The other one she's holding close to her chest. There is what looks like a seed sitting in her hand, tiny, just a little black seed. It glitters slightly in the light of the glow from the lava river, and she just holds it out to you.
Okay. Yeah, I reach for it, grab it. The last thing that crosses my mind is just maybe some random moment of Amira, like looking back at me as she's walking forward or something like that.
Okay. So she opens her hand, and she has one too, and she looks at you, and she says, well, down the hatch. She eats hers, expecting you to do the same.
Yeah, I ate it.
Okay. All right. So you put it in your mouth, you swallow it. It's tiny. You don't have to chew it or anything. You can feel it like warm, like a glass of like strong liquor. You can feel it like traveling down your throat. And the moment that it hits your stomach, it is like a tree of flame sprouts from the soil of your belly. Like your entire system of veins and bones and tissue and everything just immediately feels like it is on fire. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw to see how bad the physical part of it goes, to see if you can withstand it. Now, I know Maharib's a tough boy, so.
Sure. I have one use of Indomitable left as well, so we'll see how this goes.
Okay.
26, I'll take that roll.
A 26. I'm going to take that one? Okay, cool. Yeah, I like chat pointed out, among these people, these seeds are sacred herbs for rituals, but among the orcs, this is just ground up and put on hot dogs.
Exactly, yeah.
It's orcus. You just eat a sriracha, an orcus sriracha seed. So you eat it, and yeah, sudden burning, sudden like terrifying, like from within, like you ate a fire and it tears through you. And yeah, I feel like you probably like fall forward, you put a hand on the ground. Everything around you gets blurry. You get tunnel vision. Your hearing kind of fades. The priestess in front of you is just, I got her she's kneeling in front of you. You're both kneeling in this circle. She's kneeling down in front of you. She has her hands on her legs, and she's just swaying back and forth, humming to herself. She's not sweating or anything. And you feel this kind of numbness wash over you. And you look up at her, and suddenly she's the only clear thing around. Everything else is blurry, and she opens her eyes, but instead of her normal eyes, her normal quite fetching eyes, you just see white hot pools of fire. You just see white light. And she opens her mouth to speak, and you hear her voice, but overlaid with a crackling, like rushing sound as if a fire were mimicking a human voice. And she says, you seek answers in the flames. What is it you wish to know?
What am I?
An aberration. Something of this world, but not. Different. You came back changed.
Is this a good or bad thing?
Good and bad are irrelevant.
If I require a soul, perhaps someone that would take up that blade, which seems of importance to the people here. Is that something I can acquire easily?
You already have what you seek. Bahath contains a soul.
How does one imbue that into another?
So the voice, she says, you would need a smith of divine provenance. Hands more skilled than... And she turns as if she's like addressing someone else in the room. And she's like, no, this is my summoning. No, stop it. Stop that. And her voice, like, you hear her voice like change, and then she's like, hey, Maharib, it's me, it's Agni.
Do I remember her? Like, was that taken away?
No, you remember her.
I don't know why I did not. Hello, it is nice to hear your voice.
And she she nods, and then she holds her hands up and looks herself over. She's like, whoa, hot priestess, nice. So what's up? How you doing?
Do you know of what has happened to us, Ramus and Berg?
No, universal surveillance is really more Heaven's thing. I've just been making stuff. Made a cool sword yesterday. Broke, but that's okay. I can remake it. It's not a problem.
We spent some time in the realm of the void. I don't know what else to call it. But time passed. It did not pass here. I assume that you're used to something like this.
Time works differently for mortals than it does for us. My memory isn't something I can easily convey to you, but I have a pretty good understanding of how mortal time passes. So you went somewhere and time was different there, and then you came back?
It was... I understand it to be the land of the Mara, is where we were.
Wow. And you came back okay? And she leans in, puts her hands on your face, staring at you with these bursting eyes. And she's like, well, you came back kind of weird, but in my experience, mortals are pretty malleable, so you'll bounce back. She gives you a little punch in the arm.
Whoever I was speaking to earlier said a divine smith could help me. This sword, I assume you know it? I point down to what I think were Bahat is in front of me.
Yeah, she's like a divine smith. Someone who's really, really, really good at making things and crafting stuff. Somebody with a big hammer and an infinite supply of divinely hot fire. Ah, boy. Wouldn't it be cool if you knew somebody like that? Who do we know that fits that description? It was divine, maybe the daughter of the most powerful entity of flame that the universe has ever seen. Maybe, I don't know. Do you have any ideas who might be able to help you with that?
I only know of a smith with the ego the size of a roaring flame.
She leans back and she's like, what can I say? I do good work. You want me to do something with that sword?
This is not a request I say lightly, but I need the soul taken out of it and put into another person.
Let me get a look at that thing. She picks it up with one hand, which should be physically just purely based on the size of it, impossible. There's no way this little priestess will. She just picks it up with one hand, turns it over, kind of gets a look at it, puts it back down. It's yeah, I could do that. See, here's the thing though. The soul, she does sarcastic quotation marks, the soul that's in there, it's not really the kind of soul that you need to make a person work, right? A human soul, there's two parts. There's the hot part and the cold part. There's the dark and the light. The hun and the, what's the other one? Foe? That's the soup. Anyway, the soul that's in here, it's more like a god. Yeah, that's the word I'd use for it. A big spirit. I mean, I could break it out of there and jam it into somebody if you want.
What would happen?
I don't know what'll happen.
Person? Oh,
I don't know. Maybe they'll light on fire, or maybe it would make them really strong. And I don't know. I've never done it before. You don't often find humans that don't have a soul that aren't, kind of gross and mushy and stuff. I mean, you're all gross and mushy all the time, but especially.
Suppose it's worth trying. I don't have any other options.
This person you need to Bill. They're dead already, or?
Yes. Yes. It's complicated. They fell in battle. I know that much.
So the plan, you want me to break that? It's a damn shame. It's such a nice sword. And then take the thing that makes it powerful, which is a spirit of a minor fire god. And I gotta talk to Dad about that. But theoretically, it's possible. I should be able to do it. Might result in grievous bodily injury or the risk that everybody's soul might burn up horribly. But I like experiments. So yeah, we could try.
I have a second question for you. Once again, about another weapon.
She like looks around. She's like, all right, I've only got access to this body for a little while. The oracular aspect is probably complaining to Dad right now, but it's fine. He's a nerd. What is it?
I like move to block or to unblock vision towards the wicked edge of the void.
Okay. She squints and she's like, there's a long pause of her looking in that direction. And then she turns to you and she's like, the floor?
Do you not see that weapon? Lodged into the earth over there. The axe.
I see the floor, and like a hole. Is it a very small axe? Did it fall in that hole?
Interesting.
It's not interesting. It's a hole in the ground. There's lots of them. There's one right there.
This is more than enough information.
What? I hate riddles. What? Now? I am turning this oracular investigation around. Now I'm the one asking questions. What the fuck are you talking about, Maharib?
It's interesting that a mortal is causing a riddle to a god, is it not? I don't have any other questions. You can... Well, I'll have Ramus contact you.
Scowls at you. She's like, very rude of you, Maharib. Generally, you mortals are supposed to, I don't know, genuflect. You didn't even bow to me when I showed up. And here I am trying to help you, and you're just being such a jerk to me.
I'm just looking at the ground, and then I just look up at her as if I'm waiting for this to be over.
Yeah, like you're dismissed.
Yeah.
She puts her hands on her hips, and she looks at you. She's like, you're a real piece of work. But, all right, if you need help with the sword or whatever, just get your hot priestess friend. And there's a moment where Agni literally just looks down and checks out her own tits. She just looks down like, yeah. She's like, you need my help again. Use this one. I like her. And then the priestess kind of like falls forward. Like she just suddenly like a puppet having her strings cut. She just kind of like whoop and falls forward towards you. Do you like catch her?
Yeah, I do. If it's back to the priest.
Yeah, so you catch her as she like falls forward and she blinks and looks up at you. And she smiles and she's like steaming, right? Like there's just like steam coming off of her skin. And she looks up at you and she's like, that was strange. Thanks. Kind of gets back up and brushes the dust off. She's like, you okay?
I have a path now. That's something.
So you're gonna want to be real gentle with your guts for the next day or so. Just try to drink, like get some goat's milk and some bread and try to take it easy. No getting in fights for the next little while if you can manage it. Fire seeds can be tricky for mortal constitution. Unless you're an orc. They just eat them by the handful. But you should be okay. Sometimes I don't remember most of that conversation. Did you get what you needed?
I got enough to set me on the path. That'll be just fine.
Well, if you're still here and Imix didn't burn you alive, I guess that means we can trust you. So she leans over and she's like, Awut. And he turns around as if he wasn't like just waiting to hear back or whatever. He turns around and he's like, what? He says, he's okay. He looks different and there's something going on here. But he lived, so for now, I guess we can trust him. She looks at you and smiles and quietly she's like, we can trust you, right?
Can you help me with that sword? I need to wrap it.
She nods and she's like, okay, and goes to pick it up and she can't. She tries to lift it with both hands and she's just like, yeah, you want to get the other end?
Please stand back. I don't know what's going to happen when I touch this weapon. It was speaking to me yesterday.
So she gets up and she takes a step back.
Yeah. I guess I grabbed the hilt because I don't want it to like burn me or something with the blade. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
like
so you
loosely grab the hilt and try to drop it over into the cloth.
It's heavy and unwieldy and feels awkward. You know what it feels like to wield a sword, right? You're a skilled fighter, but there's something uncomfortable. Like it just feels badly made. It feels badly balanced and uncomfortable to wield, but it doesn't like, you don't burst into flames or anything.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
throw the hilt into it and grab the blade and put it back on the other side of the cloth and start wrapping it.
Yeah. So Awut comes down. The priestess is attending to like her own kind of last bits of prayer. And Awut comes over and claps you on the shoulder, like, and his effect has changed. He's being much more like camaraderie kind of focused with you. And so he puts his hand on your shoulder and he smiles and he says, "I'm glad you're all right. You look different, but if Imix says you're trustworthy and there's nothing wrong, then welcome back. It's good to see you. I'm sorry that you came bearing trouble on your shoulders. If there's anything that we can do to help."
Can you get a message to Ramus? He's in the encampment. I assume the bird will get there before.
He nods.
I will.
We have people in the camp. I'll send someone with word.
Just tell him I'm on my way to make sure the body is ready. He'll know what that means.
So is you leaving? You just got here. We could use your help. You can see that he is like worried. Like he was excited that you're here. You've gone through the test. You're allowed to stay. And now you're like, I gotta go. And he's like shit, I need you to stay. And he says, I've just started training some of the warriors. I could really use your help, Maharib.
You said it yourself. Things are moving quickly. Creatures, places they shouldn't be, forced, burning with the godlike fires. Time is of the essence.
As you say. And he puts a hand on your shoulder and nods solemnly. And he says, be careful in that camp. There's a dark cloud hanging over that place.
If I have my way, it'll need a new leader soon. But we'll deal with that when we get there.
Well, we'll be here, reading the signs, preparing for whatever's to come. The embers of Imix burn with you, Maharib. If you need us, just say so.
I put out my hand the same way that he did when I first entered.
Yeah.
And it's more of like a wholehearted embrace rather than a awkward
Yeah,
one.
maybe you do the like warrior hand thing and then pull him in for the hug.
Yeah.
Yeah, he laughs. And he says, okay, hero, go do whatever your destiny needs you to do. Will you stay for food at least, or do you have to get back out into the storm already?
Does like lightning crackle outside? or thunder crackle outside.
I mean,
That.
you're well below
Oh,
you're
yeah, I
well
guess I
below
know.
the surface now, right? You're down in a cave.
Yeah. Dinner sounds nice. I'll stay the night.
He nods. Good. Come with me. And the two of you head back upstairs so that you can get rehydrated and fed. And he sends a runner down into the valley or down into the countryside to like carry a message to Ramus. So Ramus, you can assume that at some point someone in the camp comes to you and says, Ramus Krill, I have a message for you from the embers of Emix. Your companion Maharib is coming. What did you say? Prepare the body?
I said I have a soul. Prepare the body.
Yes, he has a soul and asks you to prepare the body. I know nothing else, but my message has been delivered.
Oh, thank God. He was going to save my love. I'll prepare her body right away.
He puts a hand. He puts a hand on his chest and he bows and he says, "Burn bright, Ramus Krill." And he turns and goes back into the camp. And this is a guy, like, he's just, you thought up until this point, you thought that this guy was just like a random peasant, like some random guy who got like pulled into service. And he just kind of emerged and was like, "I am a secret member of the Order of the Burning Flame. I have a message for you, Ramus." And he's like, "All right, now I got to go back to being a peasant. See you later." And like disappears back into the crowd. But so you're like, "Yes, my beloved." And so is that you go and get Unnamed and like ready the corpse?
I start preparing Unnamed, getting her all ritually dressed up, cover her face and everything, lay her out on the table.
Cool. Okay. All right. So let's assume that happens kind of like last or nearly last. So let's cut back to Berg and Ramus and the ghost of the pervy old man as you descend the stairs into the monastery library. Now, Ramus, have you ever been in the temple library before? Were you ever allowed into the like proper library?
We were only allowed upstairs. Like down here was where only the elite clergy were allowed.
Okay. All right. So as you descend the stone stairs down into the hard ground below, you are met with at first a surprising chill. This maybe doesn't surprise you so much, Ramus. You know that there are magics, like permanent enchantments placed on this place to keep it fresh, basically. Keep moisture out of the air, keep the temperature down. There's basic geomancy that has been performed here to funnel temperature and moisture away from this place. So you get down here and it's a big change from the jungle above. You continue down the stairs and immediately begin getting like cold and dehydrated as the two of you descend. You figure you're probably, I don't know, a good like 4 or 5 stories underground before the staircase ends. Ramus, you've got you cast light, and that's how you see. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what is glowing from your from where is the light coming from?
I would cast it on Berg, put on his hammer so it lights everything around.
Okay. Okay. All right. So it's clear to you that as you get to the bottom, something is not right down here. The air, which should smell of just stone, has a sickly, rotting scent to it. Like there's a charnel kind of smell in the air as you descend into the library proper.
I would like to make a perception check if I can try to recognize what that smell is. If it's rotting corpse or
for sure.
Dead flesh.
Critical
Oh,
fail.
you know nothing.
Do you want to use lucky?
It's ice cream.
Yeah, I'll use lucky.
Because you know,
Smells
one,
like
that's
delicious
better.
stew. Orc stew. Okay. It smells like rotting corpse. It smells like dead human body.
Berg, it smells like the man was right. There's rotting corpses down here.
Mm,
I'm gonna press on.
Yeah, and with the same
Okay.
perception check, I would like to listen, like, I hear movement, things shuffling, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Not a lot, but I think that as you come down, if you put your hand up, like Berg, stop, and Berg holds his breath, you get quiet for a second. Yeah, you hear somewhere. So the library downstairs is made up of several interconnected chambers. So square chambers interconnected by like topic or whatever purpose. The first chamber is essentially a little shrine to the sun as illuminator. And you would know that you would approach here. There would be the librarian who would be here to meet you, and if you had clearance, you'd be allowed to wander certain rooms. But if you didn't, the librarian could go and get a book for you. So that's what you expect to be the next room. When you walk in, you see the vague shape of the room, what you would have expected, right? You see there's a central pillar that normally would have the all-seeing visage of the sun atop it, but the pillar's been toppled and broken. There are 4 columns. The columns are still etched with the sigils of the sun and of knowledge, but kneeling in a circle around the broken column, there are 4 bodies. They appear to have died in prayer, right? They're all kneeling, facing inward. They have their hands to their foreheads, and all of them appear to have been poisoned. They're corpses, so they're like starting to liquefy. They have fluids coming out of their mouth and nose down the front of them. Their skin is bloated and black and like sagging off of their bones. And they are all like supplicants in prayer, dead of poison. And the room stinks. They have voided their bowels, soiled their robes, and their bodies are breaking down. Though the magic that keeps this place from that keeps it safe for the books is also preserving these corpses. So they're probably much older bodies than they look. They're keeping the falling apart process fairly minimal. But you can tell at a glance, Ramus, without even making a religion check, these are the high priests. These are the high priests of the Temple of the Sun. I think maybe, I mean, at this distance, that's all you can tell. You see their robes. You recognize that's who this is.
That's where they died. And I can't remember. Did you say that I could hear movement down here? Like things moving around?
Like if you stop and you listen, you hear occasionally like a scrabbling sound or like a whispering or something. You can hear sounds in the dark. Though it'd be very easy to assume that it's like a rat or something like scurrying around down here. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Max.
Very good. We need to be careful. These people died, but we don't know what killed them. She could have something down here. Need to be very careful.
I would be surprised if there wasn't. Well, we go.
Well, let's start scouting the place.
Yeah, you want to start like looking around?
Yeah.
Okay, so you continue into the foyer, into the shrine. There are three doorways out, one behind the librarian's desk, one to your left, one to your right. And it looks like this place, like even from here, as you approach the librarian's desk, you can see that there are books scattered all over the floor, and there's a knocked over chair. And looking past that, at the edge of the light, you can see more books lying on the floor and what looks like a knocked over stone shelf. It looks like this place has been ransacked, but you see no evidence that anything's like there's no footprints. It just looks like shit has been thrown all over the place as you come in.
Do things like poltergeist exist in this world, where like things get haunted and thrown around and stuff? Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Mischievous ghosts. Like if you cheap out on grandma's funeral, grandma's Poe will harass you by like throwing your shit around, spoiling your milk, you know, trying to pluck out your nose hairs while you're trying to talk to your boss. Like she'll hassle you until you bury her properly. All right. Do the cremation, pay for a priest. Like nuisance ghosts are more common than like zombies or Mara infestations or whatever. Like that's just a casual problem of a Poe doing that.
Hmm. I have a bad feeling, Berg. All this destruction reminds me of ghost activity. This place could be haunted.
Oh my god! It just occurred to me that you are afraid of ghosts in the basement of a library. It's literally just the beginning of Ghostbusters.
Oh, man,
Totally
someone
did. It
blew-
didn't even occur to me.
Someone blew their nose, Berg, and you want to collect it?
Excellent. Well, I know who I'm gonna call. So as you enter into the room a little further, you get past the shrine of the four dead priests. I think Ramus, at a glance, these priests are all, even the oldest ones, because when you were here, I guess maybe you recognize one or two of them, despite their like melting flesh. You recognize them. They're much, much older. They were like younger priests when you were here as a child, and it looks like a few of them, they managed to rise to the ranks of high priest before, you know, everything went bad. There are four of them. Four is a sacred number. Probably in this case, they each represent a part of the day. So there would be like a dawn priest, a dusk priest, and a priest of the high sun, and then a priest for like sun's absence, right? A priest that their job is to do all the other stuff while the sun is sleeping. They're all dead now, so too bad for them. And as you come in, I think we probably cut to, yeah, I think this makes sense. We cut to a shot of upstairs, and we see grave dirt. We see the mistress of this place, and she's standing and she's watching some warriors do a drill. She's watching like spear drills, and she watches this, and then that little kid that we keep seeing comes up. And like tugs on her robes, and she turns and looks at him, and she's like, "What is it, Sen?" And Sen gestures like, "Come down," and she rolls her eyes and kneels down, and he leans over and puts a little chubby hand up next to her ear, and he says, "There are strangers in the library, mistress." And she says, "Strangers? Who?" And he says, "The half-orc and Ramus Krill. They're digging around where they're not allowed. They made some old man break the seal, and now he's dead." And she nods, and she says, "Well, they shouldn't be down there, should they? What shall I do?" And he grins, this kind of little like evil little kid face, and he says, "Send the ghosts again. They like the library." And she nods, and she says, "Yes, I think that's a good idea, Sen." And she turns her hand so we can see her wrist. She shows her hand's palm up. We see her wrist, and she blows once on the chains that she has wrapped around her wrist, and we see three spectral chains that drift off of her wrist. She gathers them and she just gives them a tug. And they glow. No one else seems to see this, but she tugs on these chains, and she whispers into her palm, "Library." And we cut back to the library, and in the light, as the two of you are looking around in the light, I'll show you what you see. I will reveal what happens, and then that'll be the end of that. So here's the room that you are in currently. There are priests kneeling in these four spaces. But it's not the priests that you notice. One by one, as they emerge from shadow, you see 3 ghostly forms approach. One is a warrior. She's transparent. She is clearly a specter. She has, I believe, a scimitar on her belt. But she appears from the shadows over here. She looks like a genasi of some kind in life. And then from the shadows on the other side, you see this one who seems to have hair of flickering fire, carrying knives. He appears from the shadows, and then lastly, from over here, hands glowing with unholy light, we see what used to be a dwarven priest, and around all of their necks there is a noose of glowing golden chain that hangs up above them and seems to go like up into the earth above you. And they emerge, and it is clear that as they appear from the darkness, these shadows mean you nothing but harm. And as you look around, seeing these spirits appear, we cut to black. Roll credits.
What are you two doing down here?
Can I have a request? If I'm not going to be there, can I play all 3 of them and fight the characters? Fight Max again. It'd be super fun.
There you go.
Have me and Zeke fight them. It'd be great. Zeke, those were the first characters in Court of Swords.
They were?
Yeah, these 3 characters.
Yeah, those are
characters.
PCs. Yeah, they're the PCs from the first arc.
That's why I did.
What are
That's
their
why I did
names?
Velamir's voice. Velamir,
Zafira, and Baron.
Yeah.
Velamir was Max.
Wow.
Baron was
This is like an episode. Yeah, that's an episode like what 10?
I saw chat
maybe
starting to
less.
get
This is
excited. They're
episode
like,
1.
Finally. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, these were the first 3 characters we had. Yeah, they died like episode 5 or something like that.
And now they're ghosts.
Yeah.
Bound to the service of Gravedirt. So
We'll see how that goes. Let's do some shout outs.
Yeah.
We'll do some
What
XP.
level are they? This is going to be easy peasy.
Yeah, they're just level 1s. Yeah.
3 first level nerds.
Should be good.
Yeah.
Should be good. Actually, I think we hit level 3. I think we were level 3 in
so
the
too,
first
yeah.
show. Yeah.
Shit. Burst breath will take care of them. Jesus.
Yeah.
It'll be easy.
Yeah. All right, let's do some shout outs and we'll do some XP. Zeke, why don't you start us off?
Okie dokie. What up, everybody? My name is Ezekiel III. Thank you guys for tuning in every day or every week that you do. I appreciate it, and I am so grateful to be a part of this group. It's, like I've said a million times in the past, it's a highlight of my week every week. I love role playing more than anything. So thank you, Max, Dan, JP, and Adam for being my mates on this little journey that we're doing. If you want to find me, you can find me at /Ezekiel_III on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I will not be casting tomorrow or Tuesday. I will be doing nothing those 2 days because tomorrow is all day packing. I'm just going to pack everything, box up all of my life that hasn't been boxed up yet. And then Tuesday is when I load it onto the truck and I drive down to Denver. So that's what I'll be doing for the next 2 days. But Wednesday, I will be on Drop Frames, come hell or high water.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that was going to happen. So
yeah. No, if push comes to shove, I've already talked to Scott, my mod and friend who lives down there, and I can use their internet and their computer or whatever if need be.
Cool.
For Wednesday. So Wednesday will happen no matter what. But yep, that's my stuff. If you want to catch me streaming, I think hopefully, fingers crossed, Thursday at noon Pacific, I will be finishing up AI the Somnium files. I've gotten one of the endings or two of the endings now, and I think there's like 4 or 5 more. So that's what I'll be doing.
Sounds cool. Good luck on the move. If I don't talk to you before Tuesday, I'm sure you're going to be busy.
Thank you.
Max, do some shout outs and tell everyone about your new stream over at mixer.com/GassyMexican.
Well, we're gonna have it a secret, but it's out. We're gonna mix it up. All right, guys. That's what.
How have they
everybody's
not
doing.
used that line? How has none of them not used that
None
line?
of them have used it. It's been so obvious, and that's all I've thought about when anybody does that. Saying mix it up. Anyways, not moving to Mixer. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Fuck you, Adam. How dare you use our own characters against us? You son of a bitch. Now, we'll talk more about that, but that's really, really cool. I was not expecting that. Of course, thank you to Dan, Adam, JP, and Zeke for being my castmates, and of course my DM. It's just nice being in the new in the actual world. It feels better, not better. It feels better. We were in the void for a long time, so it's cool getting into all this stuff, and there's some good RP moments too, especially with Zeke's character. But we'll talk about it in the post show. Check it out if you guys want to watch me. Like all my shit there, whichever side, I don't know. I'll be streaming an early look at GTFO with some of the late shift dudes tonight. Checking that out. So we're getting spooky and stuff, and I don't know, killing whatever those things are in that game. But it's neat. So if you want to check that out after the stream, I'll be doing that. Thank you.
Sounds good. I'll get the overlay updated for next week, Max, so that people know where to go check you out. Dan, do some shout outs for us. Also, I'm going to make this a thing now. I'm just always going to say Max is streaming on mixer.com/GassyMexican. We're just going to see how far we could go.
The problem is, listen, no one on this show is allowed to go to Mixer and sign an exclusivity deal because the show's fucked if you do that. So don't do it. Don't. We need you.
I don't know how that would
stick
work.
together.
I don't know how that would work. Dan, some shout outs.
Hi, I'm DansGaming / DansGaming on Twitch. Variety streamer, currently finishing up the Call of Duty campaign and Outer Worlds. I'll be live with those tomorrow. Another super fun episode. Lots and lots of juicy RP. And I just cannot wait to see what happens next week when we probably both die. So it should be awesome.
We will see how that goes for sure. I'll do shout outs real quick, and then we'll let Adam do his and get some XP. Tomorrow I'll be checking out Outer Worlds for the first time. Tuesday I'll be jumping into Final Fantasy 14 patch 5.1 and also the new Destiny dungeon that's coming out. And then Wednesday we got Drop Frames. Jericho's going to be joining us. I got to figure out what game, or maybe we'll have a peacetime. What is that? A peacetime period? What's the peace wartime? What's
Detente?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that sounds better. So we'll figure something out. That'll be on Wednesday for Drop Frames at 1 p.m. Eastern. So last but not least, Adam, some shout outs, and we'll do some XP.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for coming, everybody. If by some strange turn of fate, this was your very first time tuning in, thank you for watching Court of Swords. It is a very long-running Dungeons & Dragons campaign. But if you go to community.itmeJP.com, check out the forum there. We do Q&As after every episode, but I wanted to call special attention to the now updated super fast recaps that I think it was Twilight Borealis did. So Twilight Borealis did an episodes 1 to 100 text recap, and recently just recapped episode 101 to 125. So we have a text recap. If you're like, what the hell's going on in this game? We have 2 posts. Twilight Borealis made the entire show is recapped in text form over on community.itmejp.com. So go and read that if you're confused, or if you just want a little re-up on what's going on in the show. So thank you, Twilight Borealis, for that. I meant to mention it last time.
Where's that at again?
Very helpful. Super cool. Community.itmejp.com. There is a 101 to 125. I'll link it. I'll link it in chat.
Yeah, it's in chat. There you go.
And then there's the recap of the first 100. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Thanks for coming, everybody. And then we're gonna give out some XP. So let's do the thing. I know it's so good, right?
Well, now I can use that because so many people come through and be like, "Is there a way I can, get?"
Yeah.
And if people now they can just go do
that. Yeah.
For
like
sure.
what I'll do at some point is distill this stuff down. Like maybe the next time we have kind of a big like point where we can stop, I could make a audio version of it too that we could play, right? A little like
I was gonna say
previously
too,
on
yeah,
the
I might
last
even
127 episodes.
I might even just for my own purposes just record me reading that. It's just 2 long paragraphs, right? Kind of summarizing everything.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Both of those posts contain the whole shebang. So yeah, very cool. All right, so goals. Let's take a look. All right, Ramus. Let's see. So I want to talk about your start recruiting followers one. My plan is to give, and I just want to just check in with you. So I've got a countdown clock. It has 1 thing filled in because you did 1. You worked on, I guess, you know what? I'm going to start it at 2 because let's count Somchai as your first attempt. And every time that you fill in a piece of this pie, which is now 2 out of X slices filled, you'll get working towards experience. And then when you fill it completely, then you will have recruited followers from the temple. Does that make sense?
Okay, that makes sense.
That sound good? Okay. All right. So you get another slice of working towards. So that's are you 15 now?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So this session you're gonna get let's see, whatever 50 times 15 is. Let's see, 50.
750.
So your normal 750. Yeah. There we go.
Yep.
Okay. So I think that's it. You worked on recruiting followers. Next session there'll be find a way to revive unnamed. That'll come up again, I think. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Berg, kind of the same jam. You're level 14, right?
15. How dare you?
You're 15 now? That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I just got to update mine. Okay. So same with you. You worked on learning more about the gear of Emperor Faye, of the belt, right? Because 10 Pillars gave you some insight and you guys had a conversation about that. So get a 750 for Berg. Maharib, you worked on 2 and resolved 1.
Yep.
So you worked on exploring the power of the Wicked Edge. You learned something about that. Are you 14 or 15, Maharib?
I'm 14.
14. Okay. All right. So 700 there. And then another 700 for working on finding a way to revive Amira or Unnamed. And then you did consult a Goliath Shaman. So that goal is done. You'll need a new one. And that is worth, level 14, that's worth 2,500.
Nice.
So 2,500 and then another 1,400. 3,900. 3,900 experience for you.
I did it.
Yeah, cool. So you're level 15 now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And then, yeah, Zeke, we'll talk about this a little bit more in the post show because we are leading up to maybe there being a choice for you to make, but we'll talk about that more. And like I mentioned to you before, I'm just going to re-say it for the audience. Any experience that Zeke earns as 10 Pillars of Gold, if Zeke goes back to playing Unnamed, all of that XP will just get dumped onto that character instead. And because I built 10 Pillars of Gold with the sidekick rules, you could switch back and it wouldn't mean 10 Pillars would just fuck off. It would mean that 10 Pillars would become a group sidekick, and then Zeke would be the one that gets to kind of make decisions for him.
Yeah.
So not like a full second PC, but someone you could have tag along.
And we need a major
it's also
domo.
possible that whatever you do with this Dragon Soul, if you try to jam it into a person, that it doesn't go great and something bad happens. So we'll get there when we get there.
Oh yeah, I want to talk
but
about
for
that
now-
in the post show too. Dude.
Yeah.
That was a fucking
For
roller
now-
coaster for me if you were watching chat.
Yeah.
Yep. So for now, though, I think you've learned Berg's emotional state. That was like your most important conversation there. So let me track your XP here. So for that's 2,200 for resolving that one.
I
And
even
then
wrote it
worked
down.
you worked on learning something new about the condition of the opposing army. I don't think you have like a full picture of it yet, but you definitely got the 650 for it. So 2,850 this session, and you'll need a new goal as well. JP, do you know what you want your third goal to be for Maharib?
No. Post show will probably dictate
Sure
that.
yet?
So
You want to think about it there? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, let's go do the post show.
cool. All right, that's it. Thanks everyone so much for watching. No show on Tuesday. That's why we did a show today. So we'll be back the following Tuesday. What is that? November the 5th. So we'll see you guys then at 6 p.m. Eastern for more Court of Swords. We're out. Have a great rest of your weekend. What's little that's left. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody.